This is Sarnia Lambton Daily for Friday, May 1st. Good evening, I'm Terry Doyle. Lambton Public Health continues testing in long-term care facilities in the work towards limiting the spread of COVID-19. About half of the homes in the area have been tested so far, with the remainder expected to be completed by the end of next week. Meanwhile, the status of the virus in the region continues to be holding steady. As of the latest update from Lambton Public Health, 183 positive cases have been diagnosed in the region. That's up one from Thursday's update. There has also been an increase of one person that is considered recovered. The last batch of test results saw 79 tests come in. There had been times where more than 100 test results would come back in a day. The local medical officer of health says the lab is staggering the reporting of results, with positive cases given priority.
There's ongoing work with the tests because they're being shipped to various different labs. And so where we were, where it was one lab and one process, everything was kind of set. And now that there are multiple labs and multiple processes, every lab now has their own kind of turnaround time and their own reporting. And so there's some work being done, not by us specifically, but at the system level, to kind of streamline some of that reporting back to public health of the results. But in general, we've been getting results in a fairly good amount of time. I would say within certainly the positives are coming in quickly, but within 24, 48 hours, the negatives might lag a little bit, 3-4 days.
The city of Sarnia has extended the ban on recreational open fires. This came after a recommendation from the fire chief to take the pressure off first responders. Rural burn permits can be obtained for farmers looking to clear their fields. At the provincial level, Premier Doug Ford announced that some businesses will be allowed to reopen as of Monday morning. With more on this provincial announcement, let's go to the Home Office in Petrolia and joined by Sarnia Lambton MPP Bob Bailey, as we are on Fridays here on Sarnia Lambton Daily. And Bob, I see you've moved to the kitchen. First and foremost, I guess the kitchen is open for business.
Yeah, the kitchen is open for business, and good evening again to you, Terry, and to your viewers at Your TV, and welcome to Petrolia and to the Bailey Kitchen.
So the Bailey Kitchen, does that mean Bob's cooking dinner tonight?
Probably if I was cooking, it'd be takeout. I'm not a culinary chief. I'm not one of those fellas you watch on TV whipping up some kind of a culinary masterpiece.
Mrs. Bailey has decided to mostly keep you out of the kitchen, I'm sure, during these times. Speaking of open for business, the Premier made the announcement earlier this afternoon. We ran down the list just before you joined us there, but I know you had a caucus meeting this morning. I'm sure that was a hot topic as well. Give us sort of the overview. We know what's opening as of Monday, but I'm sure, I guess it's a case where to give people a sign that slowly things can move forward here.
Yeah, this was from a lot of input from the caucus members, from the business community. We heard from many of them across Ontario. So the Premier and his staff and the people that are on that cabinet committee, there's six different cabinet ministers, Monty McNaughton being one locally. So they went and they looked at a number of businesses they thought, because of the flattening of the curve, they could start to slowly give people hope, give some of these small businesses hope as well, and so start to roll out an opening when this takes place, as you say, as of Monday morning, May 4th, I guess, Monday, May the 4th, but they're giving people notice. That's why the Premier announced it earlier this afternoon, give people a weekend to either inquire and to take a look. I'd encourage people to go to my website, bobbaileympp.com. A number of this stuff will be posted there as of tonight and earlier this afternoon, obviously, from the announcement. So a number of the businesses that they were looking at, and I didn't see your earlier clip, but garden centers and nurseries with curbside pickup only, lawn care and landscaping. Now that's a big one. I've heard from a number of these people over the last few weeks. And when it comes to the landscaping, of course, that's grass preparation and landscaping. The construction project, that's the big thing in Sarnia Lambton, of course. And so there's a number of projects to do with shipping and logistics, broadband and digital infrastructure. There's construction on hold out there that needs to go ahead. Municipal and school projects, these are provincial projects that need site preparation for institutional, commercial, industrial, and now residential development. So those are projects that with the proper spacing, proper PPE, they can start to move ahead. automatic and self-serve car washes, and car dealerships. I've heard from a lot of car dealerships by appointment only in the sales and mechanical issues. And of course, marinas and golf courses will be permitted to begin preparing for their seasons, because I know they need to do that. Now, when it comes to the marinas, this is for recreational boating service by servicing the boats and the other watercraft, placing the boats in the water, but not open to the public yet. So the boats and watercraft that are placed in the water then must be secured to a dock in the marina until the public access is allowed to them. This will allow marina operators here in Sarnia Lambton to begin to prepare for that season when it officially opens.
There's a few things on this list where someone watching us tonight might say, well, wait a minute, I thought they were already open by appointment only or for curbside. Is this in some cases maybe making it official and a clarification because there was that list with 75 essential and non-essentials? You find this at least is really clarifying it and making it official?
Yeah, I think so, Terry, and because I know, there was some, there were issues with, I won't mention, but some of the big box stores had pop-up garden centers, and I was hearing from, and legitimately so, I was hearing from small family-owned nurseries, and we have a number of them here. I could name the 3 of them that I know, right off the top of my head, that contacted me in my office, and I legitimately. And I wasn't the only one. Other members raised this as well with the Premier's team, that, look, we need to do something for these small operators. So this will legitimize what they can actually do now. I don't know whether they were doing it beforehand, but this will legitimately allow them to do the curbside pickup. I don't think there's any way that they can actually go into the nurseries and wander around, but I guess with these catalogs and email, you can actually probably go online and look at a catalog. And anyway, it's some semblance of return to normal. And so I think, like you said, it's probably legitimizing something that's maybe taken place in some cases anyway. And of course, these nurseries allow them to do lawn care and maintenance. So this will now allow them to go out and actually do that lawn care and maintenance with a lot of their customers, new customers, a lot of seniors, maybe at one time looked after their own yards. They can't do that anymore. So, and in a lot of cases, they turn to a number of these nurseries. The big box stores don't go out and do actual lawn maintenance or replace shrubs. Our local longtime businesses here, I'm really tempted to mention 3 of them. People know exactly the kind of places you're talking about. Yeah,
they're all over.
Yeah, they know who I mean. And so I'm really looking forward to being able to work with them. We're contacting them. Like I said, we started this afternoon contacting them, letting them know so they could have some plans. Well, some people say it's not soon enough. It's not soon enough for me either, but it's we're somewhere down that path. And like the Premier said, he wants to see those numbers stay flattened, and the last thing we want to see is us fall back and have to close down parts of the economy when we're trying to get it going. So I'd ask and I know people will because they've been great so far, but just to be responsible, whether you're dealing with these merchants or whether you're dealing with lawn care professionals that are coming out to do your sites. Be a little patient with your golf course. It won't be long before you'll be on those greens. Let the operators of these golf courses, the small ones, the large ones, let them get prepared. Let them cut the greens. Let them be prepared for when opening day does come, that you can get on there and enjoy yourself.
We saw on Monday the sort of the framework announcement that was made of the 3 stages of the 3 steps. Yes. There wasn't really any specifics. Do you find maybe between then and now this was an opportunity to maybe throw people a little bit of a bone to say, okay, here is a bit of movement?
Yeah, and I think this was always planned this way, and that's why they came out. It was actually Minister McNaughton that came out. He outlined the parameters of which those different industries, when they were allowed to open, would guidelines for them to operate under. Well, whether it's PPE, distancing, all those kind of things. So that's why they announced that. I think there was up to 60 guidelines. Now, some of those might apply to more facilities than others, but it'll be up to each business to see where they fall on that. Like I say, those are available on our website, and I'm sure the government website as well, but I can certainly go to mine, and we'll make sure everything we have is as up to date as possible. And I think it's important, like you're doing here with your TV, Terry, what you are doing, like by making this available to your viewers and to people, whether it's on Facebook or live TV, for people to be able to go on and get the latest, or at least question what they hear. And they can either go to our website or to some other site, whether it's a city, with some of their emergency orders that they're trying to enforce, and you can go and try and get the latest information.
Bob, what are you hearing? Let's go back to the constituency level for a minute. I know your office is closed, but the staff is certainly busy working from home, but get a lot of phone calls and emails. What are people asking? What are sort of that communication you're getting from people?
Well, a lot of issues around small business like these, either from customers wanting to know when they can have, for example, lawn care or maintenance, but we're still hearing, family responsibility issues, workman's compensation, rent issues, either from landlords and or from tenants, or from tenants that are some small business tenants who are questioning, having issues maybe with their landlord about, they have no income for the last month or more, and how are they going to pay their rent? So those kind of issues, trying to hook people up with the right individual or people that can help with those answers. So that, the calls continue to come in, either online through my office, through Facebook. There's a site there where you can confidentially ask a question, and our staff, myself, see those, and we try to respond with as the most accurate information we have. That's why I think it was important earlier today, when the Premier came out and gave us an opening. I say, there used to be showed some ankle. I'm going back in the past, but showed some hope, showed some a little bit of what we could expect, and there'll be more of this rolled out as we go on. I'm sure every 2 or 3 days you're going to see something more rolled out. As I think it's the old case. They don't want to, if you just said, hey, the economy's open tomorrow, well, we know we're going to have issues. If we do it slow and methodically, roll it out as they, with the best medical advice from the medical officer of health from the province of Ontario, who the Premier works with, and of course our local medical officer of health, who I work with, and of course the city and our elected people and city staff and county staff work with. So it's kind of a real balancing act.
Finally, of course, it looks like we're going to have a decent weekend. I've got to think Bob will be strapping on his running shoes and doing his walks around Petrolia. Yeah,
I want to get out, and it rained one day this week, so I didn't get out. And then I was on a phone call, I think it was yesterday. I had 3 different phone calls, one at 9, one at 11, and one at 3 in the afternoon. So it didn't leave a lot of time in between. So today's not near as, earlier today wasn't as busy as far as phone calls. So hope to get out again this evening.
We'll let you get onto that. Bob, we appreciate you joining us. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Terry, and a great weekend to your viewers as well.
There's Sarnia Lambton MPP Bob Bailey. We'll take a break. You are watching Sarnia Lambton Daily on your TV. Welcome back to Sarnia Lambton Daily. Well, mental health is certainly a very important thing to keep in mind during this pandemic, and with more on that, let's go to Allison Berkvens from the Canadian Mental Health Association. And Allison, first things first, we've been in this pandemic for weeks now. What are you seeing? What is the CMHA seeing right now in terms of what people are dealing with and trying to overcome and work their way through this COVID-19 pandemic?
Hi, Terry. Thank you so much for having me here today. So at CMHA, we are certainly seeing a lot of individuals who are struggling with some stress, anxiety, and certainly depression, and which is very understandable for individuals to be feeling this way due to the situation because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we are certainly seeing individuals reaching out to our crisis line to reach out for support. And in those calls, we are seeing individuals who are previous clients that we have worked with before, but we are also seeing some new people calling our crisis line as well, because they are going through some of these difficulties that could come along with the pandemic.
How important is it just that the people took that step to reach out?
It's so important to reach out, to take that step and reach out for support. We know in mental health that Early intervention is certainly key. So we really want people to reach out if they are having any type of mental health difficulties. And we know that the sooner individuals are connected to support, likely the better outcome that they are going to have. So important to make that first initial phone call with us to get connected to service.
Allison, you talk about people reaching out and talked about some people that you have heard from before. Have you found that unfortunately for some people, they may have been on a better path, but this has obviously maybe been a bit of a setback, but at least by reaching out, they can maybe get right back on the right track?
Yeah, absolutely. We know these are difficult times for people due to the situation that we are in, certainly due to some of the social distancing measures that have been put in place. We're not able to connect as easily with our family and our friends, our loved ones. Also, just due to the economical changes that are happening as well. So certainly understandable that people are reaching out for support, and it is, again, so very important that they are doing so they can, work on some of those challenges that they're going through and get to that state of good mental health again.
So let's talk about, in general terms, what can people do? What sort of tips do you have for people to try and work their way through this?
We really want to emphasize that it's so important that we are taking care of our mental health during these times. It's also very important to take care of our mental health, our physical health, but our mental health is really just as important. So really just doing anything that you enjoy doing that makes you feel good. So doing different self-care strategies, going outside for walks. Now that it is May, it is starting to get warmer. We are seeing some warmer days. So getting out and enjoying that weather, even if it is just going for a simple walk or just going outside and breathing in that fresh air is very good for our mental health. Also staying connected to others is also very important. We know that we aren't able to connect with others maybe physically as we used to, so seeing people maybe face to face, but there are some alternate ways that we can still stay connected with our family and our friends. So, phone calls, text messages, video chats, those types of things are really important as well for our mental health.
You talk about the weather being nicer. Here we are into May now. And you find when you do talk to people that even just that getting outside, getting a little bit of sunshine, that wave to the person as they go by or a quick hello, just even that can make such, in maybe a normal time would sound like such a minor thing, but right now makes a huge difference.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Just getting outside again, breathing in that fresh air, saying hello to neighbors or people who are walking by. It does make a large difference for people right now, especially for those who are, maybe they are more at home often. They're working from home, they're staying home with their children. So really getting outside and getting that change of scenery is also very good. And really, again, it's all about that connecting, so seeing other people, saying hello, and really breathing in that fresh air, absorbing in that vitamin D from the sun. It's all very important things for our mental health.
What about things like taking this time if someone's maybe at home to make a list, for example, or journaling or things I know along those lines, but let's talk about maybe getting things accomplished around the house, whether, getting rid of the clutter or doing some sort of odd project. I've got to think that's something where you can look at it, keeps you occupied now, but shows you've made some progress during this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's another great idea of making a simple to-do list. And maybe your to-do list is quite long, but if you can check one or two things off of that list every day, that shows an accomplishment of something that you have done throughout your day. And I know that a lot of us like to feel that sense of accomplishment throughout our day. So making those to-do lists of things maybe that you are going to do around the house, or just maybe things that you're going to do for your mental health. Maybe you are going to journal, write some positive things down that have happened throughout your day. Maybe you're going to read a couple chapters of a book that you really enjoy. Writing down those things or goals that maybe you can accomplish each day, and being able to check those things off is also it's self-rewarding, and definitely gives you that boost in your mood and helps with your mental health.
During a time like this, do you find that sometimes people maybe sweat the small stuff a little bit, where if they have a chance to look at the overall view of their situation, it's maybe a different perspective, but because everybody's kind of on edge right now a little bit and their routines are off, that sometimes the small stuff kind of percolates up more?
Yeah, it certainly can, because again, our day-to-day lives have changed. So yeah, sometimes we can get caught up in the small stuff and we maybe don't always look at the bigger picture. Yeah, that is certainly can be normal, but it is again important to kind of look at the bigger picture of things, and trying not to worry about the smaller things. But we know that, sometimes those small things can add up to create some of that stress, or anxieties that can come along with the day-to-day living. And again, if you find that those types of things are getting to the point when it is having a greater impact on your day-to-day life, then reaching out for support is always a good option in those cases as well.
Tell us about the services that are offered by the Canadian Mental Health Association, not only during a pandemic, but all the time.
Yeah, so at the Canadian Mental Health Association, we offer a wide variety of different supports and services for individuals that are having any type of mental health difficulties, or if they do have a mental illness. So right now we are providing majority of our services virtual, so most of the times over the phone. So that would include some like case management. We help individuals with housing supports. We provide some psychotherapy, so some cognitive behavior therapy to help individuals who are going through difficulties with anxiety and depression. We also offer a 24-hour crisis line, which is still available right now. So individuals can reach out any time of day, any day of the week, by phone, and reach out for help that way. And we are still providing some supports face-to-face, safely in office. So just want to recognize that we do have some staff that are still providing those face-to-face services. We are very grateful for them to be able to provide them during these times of the pandemic. But really, we just want to help individuals who have some mental health struggles to get to that state of recovery with their mental health. That's really what the goal of our CMHA services are.
Finally, we know obviously some people maybe take a little bit longer to get some help in terms of going through the process, but I've got to think there's probably some people that just hearing a voice on the other end of a phone call has probably given them maybe that little boost they needed.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, just a lot of times it is just making that first initial phone call, just to talk to somebody, maybe just to even validate that what they're feeling is normal, especially during these times. And then getting connected to that further support if needed, is certainly a lot of times, again, it's just making that first step of that first initial phone call, to validate how they're feeling, and to understand that, there is help available for what they're going through right now.
Well, Allison, we appreciate the time and the advice as well, and keep up the great work there, and to you and your colleagues, stay safe, and we'll catch up to you again soon.
Great. Thanks so much, Terry.
There's Allison Berkvens joining us from the Canadian Mental Health Association. Stay tuned. You're watching Sarnia Lambton Daily on your TV. Before we go tonight, the Sarnia Sting have named Dylan Sika as the team's new general manager. Sika was previously director of player personnel under former general manager Nick Sinclair. Well, that's going to do it for our show tonight. We are off for the weekend, but be sure to stay tuned to the Your TV Sarnia Facebook and Twitter channels throughout the weekend for more updates. For all of us here at Your TV, I'm Terry Doyle. Have a good and safe weekend. We'll see you back here Monday.